Okay. I'd like to call to order the July 21st, 2021 regular meeting of the Royal Oak Downtown Development Authority. Tim, do we have public comment today?
Yeah, it's on the...
Yeah, I was wondering whether anybody...
Oh, they're here. They
No,
gotta show
no
up.
call-ins anymore, that's right. No call-ins. I assume you guys are all set for later on, okay. Okay. So we'll move on to item number 3, approval of the meeting minutes from June 16th, 2021. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections that need to be made to those minutes? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Director Roswick,
I'll second that motion.
second by Director Keith. Okay, I'll call for the vote. Director Yazbek,
Yes.
Director Keith,
Yes.
Director Roswick,
Yes.
Director Riley,
Yes.
Director Luan,
Yes.
and I will vote yes also. Item number 4.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Thank you. Expense items, monthly expenses. You have before you. This is for informational purposes.
Quick question, Tim. On the social district, is all the signs printing included in here, or is there more coming?
Those are all through June, so you're going to have some in July.
Okay.
You've spent, I think, I passed out a little summary on the end. You've spent, including last year, about $25,600.
Okay. Okay. And we have. Okay. Good.
Is this our last month for screw and payment?
Yes, should be.
This is the last one?
Yeah.
Okay, are there any other questions or recommendations? Okay, if not, I'm going to move on to item number 5, CMC recommendations. I think there's a couple of them here, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yes, there's, I believe, 3 items in total. The first is in regards to the request from the Royal Oak Jewish Center to provide funding again for their public menorah lighting. The committee reviewed it. The DDA did provide funding last year for the event and in the amount of some $5,400. The committee did not arrive at a consensus in the dollar amount to recommend, but I do believe the CMC is supportive of the event itself, but it's coming to the full board without a recommendation in terms of a sponsorship amount. If you want to take them one at a time, that'd be the first one. So if the first action would be to deal with whether the DDA wants to sponsor the 2021 menorah lighting request, and if so, and what dollar amount. There is a copy of the request from the Royal Oak Jewish Center attached, as well as a budget sheet, I believe, included at the end of their proposal.
Okay, go ahead.
That's a real quick question. Do we know, does anybody remember, or do we have a list of what their total costs were last year?
That's what they provided. I believe
That's
that's...
the same thing?
Yeah, it's for the
So
most part.
I'm just kind of wondering what our methodology was for determining what the amount we voted on.
Well,
So,
last year, I
they
believe you
asked
paid
for-
for the stage and and a
Yes,
couple
Okay,
of
so we
things.
picked out a couple items, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
All right, cool.
And I would say, you know, as a member of the CMC, that I recommend we keep the same amount and move forward with that.
okay.
So I
Dr.
motion-
Yasbeck, do you have anything you want to add to that, or?
I think that was the general sentiment. I mean, one observation last year was that there wasn't a huge turnout. It didn't bring a lot of people to the downtown, and you know that's the point of these things is generating some traffic in the downtown. So we didn't see any justification really to up the amount, but we felt like if we maintain the same level of support that would be appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah, just to add to that, I think due to COVID, we don't know what the turnout will be. So I think this year with COVID being not a factor or less of a factor, that we hope to see more people. Last year was a drive-through.
Right.
So you can only support so many people driving through, and I think it was 100 or so. Oh, and
200 cars is
here,
what they're saying. So what we did last year, just so I'm sure, is we did put 400 forward, and it ended up being a drive-through, and so,
correct.
got it.
And it was the first year last year?
I don't know that for sure. So last year was my first year being on the committee.
I believe it was the first year we supported it, but it wasn't the first year of the event. And in fact, I remember the event from the year before COVID. My years are getting scrambled here. And it was a pretty cool event, and I think that's why we agreed to go with Fit 400. So, I mean, I'd move if the committee's recommendation is.
We do have,
Oh.
I don't know if we want to take them.
Okay, hold on a minute.
They're here if
Let's-
you want to
Let's,
talk.
any other questions at first here?
No.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I guess it would be appropriate at this time if you wanted to address the board, now would be the time.
Hi, thank you for having us. So we came in the middle, but I guess you already spoke a little bit about the event, and some of you are remember from last year. And so it's already the third time we're doing this menorah lighting. And actually, the first time we did it was a big surprise. We thought it was going to be like 100 people, 150, and it ended up like 500 people show up. I think it was there like the first time. And last year with COVID, we came up with like a drive-in event. And I remember like I remember someone was on the meeting, and I don't think she's here today, but she was like mentioning it's only 100 cars, and I don't know, like we should support like 10,000. She said like we'll do like 5,000 for 400, which end up actually we have 200 cars because we had so many people request to come, so we used also the other two parking lots. It's in the back of the OCC. That's where we did it last year, and we actually even have people that wanted to come, but we told them not to come because we didn't have to have like too many cars with no spots. So it was really great success, and what's special about this event also, we have people from different cities, different crowds. It's not necessarily people that always come to visit Royal Oak. So we have from Huntington Woods, obviously, Birmingham, Bloomfield Hills, even West Bloomfield. We have some families that came. So it's really bring a lot of new people to the downtown and to the city, and they have a good experience. And we still get feedback from people about the food, and it's free event. You know, it's not like they have to pay, and different from many events that people have to pay for it. And this year we hope we're not gonna have to do it again in a drive. Like the plan now is to do it in a regular event unless COVID will go up. So then we have to change again the plans. But we believe this year we're gonna be close probably to 1,200 people. I mean, I can promise, but I know last year we had like about 800 people. We see from the people that sign up and how much we gave food and all this. And again, we had even more people that wanted to come, but we cannot take them because we didn't have space. So it's a good event for the city and good event for the community. And so I'm not sure like how much you're able to give, but we have a big budget, and obviously we are a non-profit, so and the event is for free, so we're raising like from donors or sponsors or things like that, and whatever we have, that's what we're able to do. So if we have a bigger budget, we're able to make the event cooler and to attract more people, and again, the next year they will be interested to come again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. So I'm not. If you have like any, I don't know if you have any amount on like any plan, like how much you want to give, but
We're going to be discussing that.
you're already discussing it.
Yes.
Okay. Sounds great. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions or comments at this time? Okay. I do remember having this discussion last year, and I just want to remind the board that I think part of the discussion that we had last year was when we looked at this budget, there are some items on here that the DDA doesn't usually typically get involved with, and those things like planning and staff and salary costs and those types of issues. Entertainers are usually responsibilities of the organizers and some things. I think we did pick out some items from the budget, like Tim said, the stage and possibly the children's activities and the city permits and the security. And if we look at that again, it kind of justifies what the committee's action was and thoughts are. So anything else? I will look to Director Riley or.
I mean, if you guys have.
So, yeah, I was going to say, I'd like to make a motion
Sure.
to support this yet again. And again, to your point, let's support it with items that the DDA would normally support. So city permits, children's activities, and the stage. In security, if that up to what we did last year, which was the $5,400.
Okay.
I think it's a great diverse activity for the city, and again, as we look to be more inclusive, this is one of these activities that gets people down into the city that normally would not come down. So.
Thank you. So I have a motion by Director Rossbach.
I'll second that motion.
Second by Director Keith. Okay, any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes. Okay. Tim,
Second item of
second item?
the Consumer Marketing Committee looked at, considered, was they received a packet from what's referred to as 2023 Airstream Rally. The packet, if you've had a chance to look through the materials, is in regards to if the DDA is interested in submitting a proposal. This group that's related to, I guess, a group of Airstream owners that do a rally in different communities every year.
Right.
International Region 4, I believe it's referred to. They're looking to accept proposals from communities, and then they would select a community to actually hold the rally in. There are some materials in there that kind of outline what is going to go on in Worcester, Ohio, and other things. And the CMC is interested in submitting a proposal. Obviously, there's a submission deadline according to the contact at the Airstream Club of the end of the month. They'd like to see that proposal, so there's not a lot of time for the committee to work out some details. But if the DDA is interested, just a quick motion to, I guess, you support it or support the submission of a proposal.
So could I make a comment to this? So I think I'm one of the people that thought this was an interesting thing for us to send a proposal on. But I guess being naive, I'm thinking we probably need the city commission to agree to this as well, since these Airstreams want to park on our city streets throughout the city. I think it's a very interesting, it's kind of like a traveling Airstream show, so people would come down. I think the purpose of this is that people would come down to Royal Oak to see all these neat Airstreams that have been, that are probably vintage and have been redone, and what they're suggesting is that their Airstream community would then be supporting downtown businesses through, purchasing food or having other food truck rallies or things like that with their program. I guess, while I think this is a great idea for the DDA to support, I think that the city has to be involved in this proposal because of the nature of the parking around the city. So it's like
It seemed like Sean was involved at some level in trying to coordinate it. It seemed like whenever I was reading through.
it sounds like he was approached, but I don't know if he was
Okay.
coordinating anything. That's where I got lost.
Start to get, yeah. That's right. I was trying to read through the lines also.
Is there time to get city coordination by July 31st?
I don't know.
That
That's
was my
the
question.
question.
Number one, is that a hard date?
Right.
Because if it is, I mean, and what are they, I'm not sure what, we're probably behind the 8 ball probably because of, the transition with Sean and everything. It looks like this has been going on. And this is for 2023, correct?
Yes, so they want to select sites by this September for 2023.
And I mean, this looks incredibly cool. I'm assuming that in the proposal, I mean, are they looking for us to pay them to come here? I mean, I didn't.
It's like 70 grand that we would have to put into the table to
just to entertain them.
No, I think that would be only if you were awarded it. Then you'd have to pay 70 grand for their programming. There's like trainings. There's a bunch of different things that they include, to help the event be a success.
But
But it ends up being about 70 grand still.
So that's a pretty high fee, I think.
It is.
Well, and the only thing I would caution, I mean, I wish we had more time to flesh this out. It's not your guys' fault, obviously. This just kind of came on us. But to look forward to 2023 and to think of our downtown streets on a mid-May weekend,
Right.
I mean, who knows what we're gonna have going on, or,
Yeah.
But this would be a programming opportunity that we would have a full year to actually program to. So if we were awarded this, we'd have almost 18 months to understand what that fee means, what we'd have to, because it sounds like they actually bring their own, or work with us to bring entertainment or things to the city, or help to activate the city. So I think that's where these fees are going.
Sure, and I guess my fear, or my caution light is going on, that again, this is kind of last minute. We put something together and say, yeah, we want it. And they select us, and then we go, oh my God, what have we got ourselves into? Now we got to give them 70 grand. We're in a contract, and we got to put this show on.
It's more about the show than the money.
Yeah, I mean, it's different than
Right.
it's so different than anything else we've ever done.
Correct.
If we have more time, I think it would be nice to consider it, but
I would agree.
What I would say is that we actively pursue. I know it sounds crazy, but 2024, and we gather more information, so that a year from now we've got a nice, neat proposal ready to go, assuming that we want to do it. What I'd hate to do is get it and find out that we didn't really want it.
Yeah, I mean, like waste, like what do you do with waste? What do you do with, there's so many questions to be
Well,
had.
not to mention waste our resources putting something together.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I think to that point, Director Riley, I think maybe the motion today is to ask staff to continue to investigate a further out future date and understand the program better, so that we can understand if we want to send in a proposal for another year.
Tim, how involved is the application?
Oh, I think anything's going to be, that we would submit from the DDA would be subject to a special event permit being issued by the city. Now, whether that would kick us out of consideration or not, from them would be their decision on their end, but anything that the DDA is going to do would require that. Where I think we'd spend our most time is working with DPS and the police department about where this potentially could be held as part of the proposal. I don't think right in the proposal would be more than a couple of pages.
So that's why the reason I ask is because if we write the proposal and if we are awarded it and we ultimately decide it's not for us, we're not obligated to move forward with it. So what do we have to lose? Just if it's only a couple pages, submit the proposal, and if we're awarded, then we can take a further dive into it and see if it makes sense to us.
I'm just not sure that we can get an answer on where we would want to allow them to have this by the end of the month.
Right.
That's where I think the coordination with DPS and the police is going to take more time, is talking about where to do this, talking to businesses that where we're considering doing this, is you might have Airstreams parked in your convenient parking space. I think there's some lead up to identifying a potential location for them than it is right in the narrative. That's what's going to take the time.
Right.
If it can't be done, then we probably have to pass for this year. If it's possible to submit something and just see what happens, I would support doing that, knowing that we're not obligated even if we do get the award.
I think if we submit for an RFP, we're hoping we get the award, and we're working towards it. I think the better approach is to try to get more information, say we're interested, but we're not at a point that we could put together an RFP for our city, given the fact that I think they've told us enough information. They've told us a good amount of information, but I don't think enough. And I agree with Tim that we need the coordination of traffic control and things like that.
Yeah, and the other thing I would say is that you know, before we jumped into this, we'd want to, whether we'd actually send somebody to the event next May or go online and at least see videos and see, I mean, you know, reading this is kind of hard. You know, I'm reading stuff. You know, you need potable water. You know, waste, you know, I mean, it's kind
There's
of.
actually quite a few items here that I see are going to be potential issues in terms of electrical taps and,
Correct.
you know, interruption of businesses and electrical cables, distribution boxes, use of forklifts, and
Yeah.
there's a number of items here that I think will have to be. Now, I don't disagree with you, Director Yazbek, that these things all could be worked out at some point. But like, I'm seeing some issues even where this might take place and how this might go down within our downtown area also, so.
Yeah, I mean, on the proposal, I mean, your proposal needs to be submitted that addresses all the items in the project scope, including locations, sizes, options in a detailed fashion, including assurances that key stakeholders such as elected leaders, municipal, downtown business association, travel, other stakeholders, everybody's on board. I mean,
a phone call to say, hey, let us get involved next year would be great. Right?
Yeah,
a good way
agree.
to handle it, just so that it's not an email, it's a phone call. Hey, we're interested.
Yeah.
We got this late to the game. We had some hiccups this summer. We're all coming out of COVID. We'd love to look at this as an
Well, coming out of
opportunity next
COVID,
year.
with our downtown manager who had been in contact with you is well up for another position. We're, you know, some stuff is, we're trying to.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
So I'd like to make a motion to continue to investigate this Airstream rally as a potential activity for 2024 or later.
Okay, I have a motion by Director Ross,
Support.
supported by Director Riley. Further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes.
One more thing that I'll add, it'd be interesting to look to see what other cities this has been in, because I'm gonna guess it's smaller, some smaller
It is,
type.
yeah. Like Worcester, Ohio is one, and
Worcester, it looks like something Florida.
Yeah, I'm looking at this one picture and it's definitely not, down at this nice little town.
Havana,
but-
Florida was the other, they have a video link
Okay.
in the proposal.
Okay.
who should call them? Is calling the right approach, and who should we do that? Okay.
I think we should send Director Yazbek to the one in 2026.
I'll get hold of him tomorrow.
Is it in Iowa somewhere? That would be wonderful. And have them file a 20-page detailed report for the entire board.
Okay. Item number 3.
Item number 3, I'm not sure there's a need for a motion from the board today, more than making sure that you're interested in spending the time on this particular activity, which is, it's referred to as Next Gen Main Street. It's a pilot program that kind of got put on hold last year again because of COVID. Sean had a lot of conversations with our rep at the Oakland County Main Street program, John Bry. I believe the other communities that they're looking at for participating in the pilot program are Ferndale and Rochester. You do have kind of an outline of the packet and their proposed schedule in terms of when things would occur and what sorts of those items would be, and then the outcomes. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to look through those. From a staff standpoint, there's really no issue from our end. The county is coordinating everything. I confirmed with John Bry, the county is paying for everything. So when you look back at the cost item on the budget and it says pilot projected community costs, the county is taking on all of those. So there isn't any cost to the DDA to participate, but there are some presentations, training things that as board members they're looking for you to participate in. So I know the
Would this
CMC is
be-
interested in going forward with it, but like I said, there's no action necessary unless the board doesn't want to be a participant.
Okay, questions?
Would this be something that the new Sean, the next hire, would be also involved in and going to all the trainings?
Yes.
Okay.
I would see in reviewing this, it sounds like it's a lot. It may be something that the BMC would be interested in as well, since it's, really trying to kind of, I don't want to say, it's really looking at the business community and how to, create density. So I don't know
It's looking at a variety of things, including marketing.
exactly.
So. All right, well, just wanted to make sure everybody was aware and it
Okay.
was coming.
That's right, got the 66,000.
Okay. Therefore, I'll move on to item number 6, Hazelton reimbursement agreement.
This, just 2 seconds and we'll get to the top.
Should have a copy of the agreement in front of you.
Yeah, I passed out a slightly revised, updated document that I'll highlight in a second. This was in front of the board at your last meeting. It had been in front of the Business Marketing Committee. The Business Marketing Committee did make a recommendation that the board supported. So staff, with assistance from the city attorney's office, kind of modeled the last reimbursement agreement that we had with the Trailhead development on North Main. So it's kind of a standard agreement inserting the terms that the board adopted or included in its resolution from its June 16th meeting. In your packet, there was the draft reimbursement agreement that was put together both by planning staff and the city attorney and has been reviewed by Hazelton's representative. What was in the packet was paragraph E had some blanks left in it. And what I handed out for you today were some updated figures based on information from the city assessor's office, the property profile from the county, inserting the current taxable value, and you'll see in the handout that the current taxable value on the site is some $275,930. In the prior document, it was referencing $645,000, and so is the spreadsheet that was attached previously. That $645,000 is actually the capped value of the property. It's not the captured value of the property. I guess just to touch on that, it's the taxable value minus the base value gets you to your captured value. So that's the adjustment based on what we put in there. So that was changed. Effectively, that will allow, when the development is done, a bigger captured value because the 275,000 is less than the 264, so or 645. So
654. Yep.
So, anyways, and then the second number was an estimate of what that would generate, and inserted. It's about that's captured by the DDA currently is about $7,300. And that's part of the agreement, the way that the board wanted. And then the last number is related to the 20% of new tax increment, and that's based on the spreadsheet as it grows. So that was inserted at $191,716. So that's what's the change between what was handed out and what's in the packet. Those numbers were inserted. Nothing else has changed in here. Two things I would point out would be paragraph D, just to make sure that we're covering all the public improvements that BMC wanted and the board considers and the petitioner. And then the petitioner was asking for some changes in the date of commencement and completion. So they have a suggested change there. Also in that paragraph, what I'd like is some discussion of what the board considers to be the commencement date. Can be issuance of a building permit. It could be the foundation inspection being finalized. It could be something that the board wants us to consider as commencement in order to show that what is proposed is a December 31st, 2021 commencement date.
Originally we talked about building permits, the acquisition of building permits. Is that any of this?
Whichever.
That was what we discussed at the committee level, yes. And if in my recollection of the other reimbursements that we've done in the past, and maybe I'm wrong here, so don't hold me to this, but that is typically what how we've done it in the past is the issuance of building permits is the commencement date.
Yeah, so if it's, and I don't know, and Dennis could talk about it, what you did at Trailhead, I believe, was the foundation inspection, but so it does vary.
Okay.
It's up to you, whatever you want.
I guess, I'm just trying to think from our standpoint, we wanted the project to proceed as quickly as possible. and to be fair at the same time. I'm just trying to think of if maybe we throw out and I'm talking out loud, we'll just discuss it there, maybe we throw something out, the acquisition of building permits, and we set a date that we're all comfortable with, whichever comes first.
Are we concerned that the building permits won't come quickly?
No. The thing, what we wanted to just, make sure was that because of, in justifying our reason for doing so, because of the cost of materials and everything like that, that we wanted it to get going before, things got out of hand, God forbid things spike again or go through the roof. And, we talked to Mr. Randazzo, it seems like they're ready to rock and roll on this thing. So.
It doesn't sound like it's going to be an issue, but we need to have it in the we need to have a date in the reimbursement thing. And it's again, it's I guess it maybe goes back to a little bit of the history of the city dealing with 696 and those projects never getting off the ground, and 10 years later, we finally resolved it and so forth. So I think that's just really just a safeguard for us at this point. But according from my conversations with the developer here, I don't see this as being an issue. And I'm going to give you guys a chance to address this in just a minute here.
Yeah, I'd like to
I just
know
want to
their
make sure that
preference.
we've got all the questions for Mr. Twing
Yeah.
first, and then I'll have the developer come up.
I just have, so I'm just trying to understand, so when you deleted the 645 out of this agreement and put it as 275, you're saying that's the current value, and then once they start building, then these values start to just go up?
Sure.
They're
Okay.
reassessed,
Yeah. I mean, you're looking at it as a piece of land right now.
Right.
That's what it's assessed.
So then you're saying the 20%, I'm just doing rough math here, so over the 10 years, we're only capturing
We're not capturing 191 over 10 years.
we're only capturing 191,
No,
and that's the 20%?
You're not capturing, you're actually capturing 100% of the project. You're only maintaining 20% of it
Okay.
in your coffers.
But you're saying that that's 20% of basically $1 million, right? Is what is captured in 10 years' time, right? Because that would be the 20%. I'm in marketing, so I'm not great at math, but I just wanted to understand that.
Yes, it's 20% of $958,579.
Okay.
Right. So for rough purposes, exactly. The tax capture normally would be 200, or would be 200 grand.
And that's assuming the project is
Stays on.
valued at what the estimates were at the time.
So I guess I'm going to ask, and we're doing this on the faith that the market will still continue to go up, right? So,
Well,
okay.
We're doing this to help them
if nothing's
help them
captured,
build it.
if nothing's captured, nothing's paid or reimbursed.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Right.
So if nothing is built there, we
Right, I
continue to
understand.
capture.
We continue to capture nothing.
Right.
No, I understand. Okay, I'm just trying to, I'm a little late to the party, that's
No
all.
problem. Any other questions for Mr. Twing at this time? Okay, now will be the time.
Gotta wait for.
Cooney on behalf of the Hazelton LLC, and with me is Mr. Randazzo and Mr. Randazzo, both Anthony, who are here as principals of the company. First of all, we want to say thank you very much to the DDA for your vote of confidence and vote of approval last month, and I want to thank Mr. Thwing for moving so expeditiously to get the reimbursement agreement done so we could be here today. So we've checked those figures with Elizabeth Masserang, who you might remember was here, our consultant, and she's fine with those numbers. I think that's correct? And so we're good with that. In terms of the commencement, we already have the initial building permits. So we put in December 31st just because we didn't want to appear like we were crazy that we were going to start tomorrow. But, and unfortunately, the way the law works, we really can't start doing anything until, I mean, there's a difference of opinion on this, but to be conservative, you're really not supposed to start construction activity until we have this reimbursement agreement approved. So their intent is to start right away. So we're very comfortable if you have commencement of development to be, building permits and demolition and, commencement, beginning of construction. That's fine with us. That was what if you're going to change it to the foundation, then to be on the safe side, we probably need to add 3 months to that commencement date, because it's our intent to get there. I don't know if we could get there by December 31st. That's a lot of work that would need to be done and scheduled between now and that time period. So if you're willing to go with the building permit issue, we'll stick with December 31st. We're actually going to start right away. That's our plan, and move expeditiously, because as you know, with developers, they don't have any revenue until they finish the project. So they can pay the taxes that we can get reimbursed. So we're fine with that definition. But if you move to the foundation one, then we need to add 3 months onto the start date. Okay.
Okay.
And
Anything else? Just one.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm Anthony Senior, if you haven't figured it out. Part of the issue is the availability of material, right? So we have a podium. So we've already let out the agreements, which requires, you probably already know this, so stay with me for a minute. We have to send out the design for the steel, and then we have to find someone to supply it, and there's a shortage. However, once you open up the hole, you can't leave it open, right? You gotta go. So it's a little bit of a coordination process. So I'm comfortable with pulling the permits. Obviously, they're expensive, and we did it out of good faith because we knew this was going on, and we're comfortable with the demolition from our perspective. And it's only intelligent to move it along, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions for the developer while they're here? Okay. Tim,
I'm just looking for a motion to approve the reimbursement agreement, authorize the executive director's execution, subject to, I guess, whatever amendments, changes, or whether you're going to use a building permit. So I'm looking for a resolution from the board to approve it, basically as presented.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve it as it's written, for that the date sticks to what, to where with the building permit, or to where that it sticks to that date that we have
Yeah.
already laid out, the December 31st.
okay. Is that clear?
Yep.
Mr. Twain? Okay. I have a motion by Director Keith.
Second.
Second by Director Yasbeck. Further discussion? Okay, I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that motion passes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All set.
We'll sign as soon as we can so we can
Get out there.
knock that building down.
I would say,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 7, Main Street America trademark sublicense agreement.
This is something that I guess started a year or so ago, from what I can tell, looking back through the file, as part of the Oakland County Main Street program, as well as some of the other activities on it. The former downtown manager, Sean, had some conversations with the county as well as the national organization based on some of the communications back and forth I've seen. There's nothing in the DDA's prior action that dealt with approval of this trademark sub-license agreement. So it's, and a year ago, the discussion was they were going to bring it to the board for your consideration then. It was never signed at that point or never executed at that point. So it's in front of you for your consideration is an agreement to authorize it to be signed. There are some provisions in it that on how and when you can use the Main Street America logo as well as the National Main Street Center logo. There is an actual requirement that you must display the accredited on your website. That's the only one that I saw reading through it that was a requirement that other than a description of how to use it if you were to use these in the future. So if you're inclined to authorize a signature, there's a suggested resolution there for 2021.
Tim, we just rejoined Main Street America just last year, right?
Well, we
I know we were previously,
A couple of years ago.
and then,
It was prior to me
We
being
weren't.
on the board.
It was a couple of years ago.
It's a couple
was
of
it,
years.
it's been a couple of years.
Yeah,
So was
yeah.
this, did we already do this?
no, we've never signed this trademark agreement.
Is there any issue with putting it on the website? Is that something we want to do?
I think we want to.
Yeah.
I do think it's a nice accreditation to have. I don't think it hurts us in any way, and it makes people aware of I mean, we've gotten an award from Main Street America, so it kind of helps.
Yeah, I mean, it's more the merrier.
And they've been, you know, fairly good to us
Yes.
in terms of some grants and stuff like that. In fact, when at the time that we got back in, they had a sour taste in their mouth from all of our predecessors, not Tim, but other people who had come before and hadn't really responded. In fact, like they were kind of like originally weren't too keen on us coming back in until a bunch of us met with them and with Sean, and they saw the stuff we had going on, and it caught their eye, and they've been a good partner.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, sounds like we're in
I'll
agreement
make
there.
I just need a motion. The resolution's there if you want.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution on Main Street.
Motion by Director Rosbeck,
Support.
support by Director Riley. Discussion? Call for the vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we're down to number 8, reports.
Do you want to go there, Tim, or do you want to get into your other stuff before the report?
Well, unless there's questions on the reports, I'm good to move on from it. The only other thing I would point to, it's kind of a report, is I did pass out a status update on the social district, just for your information of where we're at, as well as to point out that probably the only real ongoing cost that is there is the purchase of the cups. If you recall, we've got a 16-ounce white cup and a 9 or a 10-ounce clear one. It's a little over $7,000 to buy 20,000 of those. We just placed our second order because it takes 2 weeks to get them. So that'll be the only ongoing cost, and the DDA is picking up the cost per your prior actions. And as I said earlier, we spent about $25,600 between a little bit last fiscal year ordering the decals, the signs, some of those things. We spent a little bit of it this year. Your fiscal year 2021 budget has $2,000 or $200,000 in there for the social district operation and events. So it's kind of, I know there was some discussion about doing something beyond the operation out of that dollar amount. I just want to point this out to you because if we're going to spend $7,000 every
Couple of weeks.
couple of weeks,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's significant.
So
Yeah,
when
and
I-
only,
we
and
went
right
through
now, only 8 of them
Yeah.
are kind of
Right.
up and running a little bit.
Yeah.
So can I ask a question about the cup? Is the cup a color, is the logo color on the cup?
Yes.
So you can cut the cost right there by just having a black and white logo on those cups.
I like the sticker idea though.
Well, no, the sticker could come off. I think,
But we're
but,
sticking the date on there anyways because it's only one-time use.
Right, one-time use.
It's
right, but
one-time use.
by dropping the color from because that orange is a 4-color process, you going to just a 1-color process, or 1 color on that, so if it's just orange or it's just black, you're gonna save money on that screening on that cup. I'm just saying, I also think you should just buy cups for the future and not buy them at 20,000 a pop.
Buy them at
maybe.
100,000.
Yeah, buy them at a higher gross.
Yeah.
Well, but I guess my concern is that we've had one weekend,
Yeah.
one weekend, and people are already ordering more, and you've only got probably a third or less of the establishments that are going to be involved in this are in play.
Exactly.
I mean, you're looking at.
It'd be a fun metric to talk about. though.
You're
Drank 20,000 beers in Royal Oak.
You're looking at like $30,000 a month in cups. I mean, if we're seriously, once this thing starts kicking,
But
if
if
we all
you-
do our job, so.
Right, but if you buy them at a higher gross, you're gonna bring down that price for the per
We-
I mean,
cup.
you're
We've
talking-
got all the numbers. I think maybe you want to just refer it to the Business Marketing Committee,
do
which
that.
started it. We can give you all the costs that we got when we
Yeah.
got estimates for the cups, whether it was single color, 4-color,
Yeah.
whether it was various things. We can provide all that to the
And you're one.
Business Marketing Committee, and whatever adjustments you want to make, we could bring back at the next meeting.
Here's the downside of ordering too much, is that we have cups to donate to local organizations if we really need to.
Well,
I
there's-
mean,
It's just
There-
a very
there's
high
also-
ongoing cost.
I mean, that, you know, again, this is something that we're all kind of feeling our way into, and other cities have done different things that they
Yeah,
sell.
some cities are not paying for them.
No,
They're
no,
charging.
no. Or they're using it. There's a fee, like to get the cup, like $1, and that's what's using to fund the entire district, if you will.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, it's reasonable to pay for your cup. I mean, to have
Right,
the business,
so-
to
Sure.
have the business owners, they're already paying them at a quarter or whatever. You know what I mean?
Sure,
So
sure.
it's not like that's unrealistic for them to have to pay for the cup.
Well, and not only that, maybe they'll get together and maybe what we do, and I'm just throwing something out there, maybe we say, okay, here's what we're going to put into the kitty.
Yeah.
You guys figure it out.
Yep.
right.
Okay? What we don't want to do is we don't want people to not be involved because the cups are exorbitant, but we certainly don't want to destroy our budget because of it.
Right.
Totally. I think you needed to get it up and running, and
Yep.
yeah, now you just make a modification.
Yeah, I mean, but if you look at these numbers, and keep in mind, you know, we're not. What's the date today? We had one weekend, and
Yeah.
and some people are already. If you look at these numbers, I mean, and do some quick math in your head.
We're gonna run out before the next order, probably.
Well, that's
Right.
what I'm saying is, have we already ordered these? The next 20,000? Yeah. Okay. So we're pre-ordered. So we're
but-
gonna get reimbursed if we would make some type of change. It'd be a reimbursement at this
Correct.
point.
And keep in mind that we really haven't even.
No.
The promotion is
People
just
don't know
going
about it
out
yet.
there, and the weather sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, last
raining.
week it
Yeah,
rained all
yeah.
week. So
So we gotta do something.
Okay, well, let's just
So-
do that. Let's just refer it back to BMC to kind of air this thing out and bring back a recommendation. And in the meantime, maybe I can make some contacts with some of the restaurants owner,
Yeah.
get more specifics about what they actually are going through and using, so we'll have some more
can we talk about this?
accurate. Yeah, hang on.
Okay.
Well, and not only that, but also, I'd want to get some input, you know, from some of the restaurants and see what they're paying for cups,
Yeah,
et
I
cetera,
mean,
et cetera.
that's gotta be a collective decision in
Yeah.
some sense, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
they're gonna buck it if they're not on board.
Yeah, the one thing is that you want to have a uniform cup. So it might be something where we're gonna have to go to them and say, guys, this is what it is. How do you want to handle this? Do you want
Yeah.
to get together and get purchasing power and get your orders in now, or here's the deal? You know,
Or they reimburse us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a co-op.
Tim, you'll get, when you get a chance, if you can get, email the committee the cost numbers.
Then we kind of need to act fast on this one, so
Yeah,
that
we
they're
really
aware. I
do.
mean, because we could, before we meet again, we're gonna burn 100,000, or we could burn.
I think
we're
we
gonna
have a
burn.
special session coming up soon.
Well,
So we'll be able
so if we got it, we'll
to
jump on it.
do that.
Okay.
Okay,
Otherwise, everything, it looks great with the district.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right.
okay. So Tim, you're done. I know I got a couple board members here that want to bring something to the table.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Go with Director Rossmick first.
I just want to ask about the reconfiguration options that, for angled parking that you
Yeah.
gave us. I mean, one of the things in reading through this really quickly, because it was just given to us, is, you know, have they considered what this means to current restaurants and their patios? Because I would agree, I would say that as a committee, as a DDA, we don't necessarily want to, we should think about these patios, because I do think that they have been helpful for our businesses, and I like the expanded patios. I don't think we should really lose them. So has that even been thought about for these downtown angled parkings on Washington?
Well, they've been part of the conversation, particularly in regards to when they go to the MPS meters, which is partly, if you've read this, what the reasoning behind it is. But in order to install the MPS meters, they're actually going to have to run some wiring. And when they do that, they're going to disrupt the cafes that are there for a certain period of time. So yes, it's been part of the discussion about that. The patios that are out in the street and the parking are out in the street have been approved through next April. That's it, unless the commission acts on them again. I think part of that discussion was that's going to give a period of time for the DDA, the Restaurant Association, to get together and decide how and under what mechanism they might be allowed to continue after that. So I think the Infrastructure Committee was the one that was talking about what types of design, what types of encroachment, those types of parameters they wanted to recommend to the commission. So there is some time between now and next April, but I don't think the intent's to just leave what's out there forever.
Oh, it would be great.
It would
It
be
should.
great.
Yeah.
I mean, as a consumer,
It's unique, it's fun.
it's exactly what I think we needed a little bit.
I find it almost like incredible dramatic irony that for years some people in the city were after quote unquote deck dining to come out of the parking spots, and Birmingham had it, and all of a sudden we're getting it, and now Birmingham's pulling theirs back, which is I mean.
Insane.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's something, but it's something we got to discuss. But as far as this goes, these three, I'm not sure how far, in reading this, I mean, my vote immediately. I mean, parallel parking. That's obviously a no-go because you're losing so many spots and you're taking away all the handicap spots. I mean,
No, exactly. That's a no-go.
That's an absolute no-go. Reversed angled parking, man. I mean, although there's some good points to it, and we don't lose that many spots. I'm not sure about, people backing into the spots, what have you. I mean,
And do you
I
think-
That's
just
just going to listen to that.
I don't see that. So my first question would be, maintaining the existing angled park. The only downside is that parking enforcement needs to regularly monitor those areas. I'm assuming that parking enforcement is going to still exist in some form. Am I correct in that? I mean,
Yes.
there's certain lots, so, I mean, I guess, to me, that's, and I'm not sure what the cost would be of that, but these other two have,
Right, but-
reverse angled, $43,000, and I know there's a cost to maintaining the existing angled park, but, I mean.
Well,
if it-
that's probably current resources, so it doesn't, I don't know if that necessarily,
Well,
Needs
going to
to
the
be.
reverse angle is restriping and the location. When the city went from parallel on Washington to the angle that's in there now, roughly in 2006, 2007, that it cost about the same, and the DDA paid for that to restrape it.
Well, I guess my thing is, you know, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, and it's
I
gonna
would
be,
agree.
this is a hard enough pill for people to swallow with these new meters, and you know, there's all kinds
Yeah.
of craziness. The last thing I want to do is throw into this thing.
Now they
where
gotta
we're
reverse in.
we're just gonna gum up Washington. I mean,
Well, I think
No
some of,
one's
and I don't want
Reverse
to
is
speak
gonna-
totally for the
No.
police chief, but
Can you imagine
technically,
the traffic
what they're trying to
problem?
get to with the MPS meters is a system that is
Standard.
compatible and the same throughout the downtown. If you leave one area of the downtown or several areas of the downtown with some other system, that's even more confusing to the user
I think,
than doing that. I think that's some of their reasoning.
I think
Um,
so. Well,
so.
but I think some of the challenge on Washington, even when I think about reverse angling into a, I mean, first of all, the traffic on Washington's just crazy. And to have someone stop and not have a back end reverse, someone going into someone's
Well,
back end trying to
But
do
again,
that.
the thought there is, in order to parallel park, you've got to back into it.
Yeah, but if you kept the same angle, you're still, I mean, the angle parking is still troublesome even with people now. I'm with Director Riley is that you maintain the current parking. The reverse angle just really concerns me, especially if you're also adding that for handicap as well. That just doesn't seem like two things that should go together.
Okay, so let's all be clear on this here. What we're doing, why this is in front of us is if we wish to pass along our recommendation to the city commission. Ultimately, this is their decision,
You're right.
and they will have the final say-so in it. If we have an opinion, one way or another, we can pass that along. If we don't have to. So that's why Tim provided us with the information here. For simply
Yeah,
that
I
reason.
basically gave it to you as a report and
Right.
information. If you want to
Yeah.
do something with it,
I
feel
guess
free, but.
I think I think the DDA should have a recommendation moving forward. I think we probably need to sit with this a little more, but I would be I guess I don't see the mention of the expanded decks in here. That makes me, and I get your point, Tim, about it being through April, and at that point it'll be re-reviewed, but there was no thought that would stay forever. I do think that the city might, or the city has an appetite, or the people that come down here have an appetite to have those expanded patios. Maybe the businesses don't want them. I don't know, but I know I hear more compliments of Royal Oak than I hear negative comments. So
Because of that, because it's a
Because
feature, it's a
it's a nice
brand
feature.
opportunity.
Everybody's
Yeah,
out there all the time.
So the one thing that I'll say is I don't know that we have that much time. I mean, I'm seeing, if I'm reading this right, I'm seeing there's 2 resolutions on here, and one of them, well, I guess you can always leave it status quo, but there's resolutions for reversed angle and there's resolutions for parallel. Whether we come up with in my opinion, we do one of 2 things. We either send something to them, you know, via the form of a, you know, recommendation, that we either go for the existing angled parking or anything but parallel parking.
Yes.
I
Agreed.
mean, parallel parking, and that would be a financial and a public relations nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, losing that many spots and taking away the handicap spots, no.
I'd be curious, of the 134, how many of those are currently over, like not available due to the decks?
Well, you got Luigi, you got Lily's.
But there's so many parking garages that we all just built.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
that's.
I mean, are you hearing? I'm not hearing any complaints about parking.
No.
no.
I tend to agree with Director Riley in terms of that recommendation. I also agree with Director Rossbeck, but unfortunately, I think what we're going to have to do is be strong about our argument in terms of the patio, and make those recommendations and get our feelings well known. Probably not today, but sooner than later. And I think that we can get infrastructure back on the discussion as to how we want to maybe present that. So.
And while I understand, I totally understand that the police department wants everything to be uniform, but without sounding like an ass, we've never been uniformed. I mean, we've always had, the coin meters and, and I mean, I'd love to be uniformed too, but not, I mean, I'm thinking of my mother driving down the street and having to reverse parallel park.
Right.
And I'm just thinking, and it'd be one thing, I always say water finds its level, but has anybody at this table ever reversed parallel, or reverse angle parked? I'm sorry.
No.
Has anybody here ever reversed
I
angle
have,
parked?
and it's not fun. It's not easy. It's not easy because, again, you're finding a spot and going past it and then coming back into it.
And somebody's on your
and
bumper.
so someone's on your bumper.
Yeah.
And there is a little bit of room to get by there, but
Not a lot.
yeah.
That's I think my concern. And again, if we're talking about uniformity, Main Street is parallel. I wouldn't suggest going back to parallel on Washington, but then make Main Street angled. I mean,
We don't have
and you don't want to do
it's
that
not wide
either,
enough.
right?
You don't
It's
have
not
room.
wide enough.
Yeah, it's not wide.
So I guess
Keep it
I'm
as
just,
is.
I think that we have a recommendation to make, and I think we should take this opportunity to voice our concerns.
Does everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
We don't need a motion on it, we just need to direct.
I mean,
Well, I would like a motion.
would you? Okay.
Otherwise, the board hasn't
Then
taken
you'll just send it,
action.
okay.
Yeah. So
I'll
if
make a
your
motion.
motion
well, hang on one
is
second.
anything but
We can have
anything but
discussion after the
parallel.
motion.
Yeah, is an option.
leave it
If
as
they
is.
kept it existing, would they be looking for us to foot the bill for the monitoring of it, or
No, we don't know that.
okay,
You can't take that from this
Yeah.
okay,
info.
okay.
I mean, I looked from the resolutions, it looks like there's 2 resolutions for change, or the city commission cannot act on it, which would maintain the status quo.
Okay, okay.
I think that's what overwhelmingly we're saying. We don't want them to make the change. We'd rather
Right.
keep it as is
Yeah.
if possible. It sounds like the changes are better for the city to monitor parking, but not better for people coming down.
Correct.
So why
Yeah.
would we make it more difficult for people to come down
So
and
how do-
dangerous to
Yeah, we just
potentially
wanna-
I
hurt?
agree. So how do we
I
say
think
keep?
yeah.
So how do we say keep it like it is?
So we
Maintain
can
the
say
status
that.
quo.
I think that's the
maintain-
motion.
The
Make
motion is
to
the
stay status
DDA
quo.
recommends that there is no
But we
action.
need to put something in there that the parallel parking is like.
No,
So I would say if that
It's-
recommendation is not accepted, then, then reversed angled.
And because we find it absolutely
Actually,
unacceptable.
I would go
go that
opposite of that. I would rather go stay existing and we put the bill for, the whatever it would be to keep
To
it.
monitor.
We don't need to for that.
It's a minor cost. I mean, it wouldn't be that major of a cost.
So,
We haven't been approached
We don't
on
know yet,
anything
right.
like that yet, so I think we'll just put that on the back burner for
But
right now.
what I want to make sure is that by no means do they go, and I can't see how this commission would ever vote for the parallel parking, especially with the elimination of the handicap spots.
Yeah, that's
After-
absolutely
after
unacceptable.
everything that we've been through to get them. I mean, we just got them a couple of years ago.
So our recommendation is for existing angled.
maintaining
Maintain
existing
existing
angle
angle.
parking. So make it, so are you gonna make the motion, Tony?
Okay.
Barrister.
What? Yeah.
Sure.
Okay,
A
so,
motion to recommend to the city commission that we maintain the existing angled parking on Washington.
motion by Director Yazbek,
Second.
second by Director Rossbeck. Any more discussion on this?
I want to say, can we make a modification to that or add within our recommendation that we want to maintain this existing angle parking, and if the commission wants to make a change, that they work with the DDA to review that change. I mean, I think it's, if they're gonna, because it sounds like we're going to have to foot the bill on any of the change that they want to make.
No, we haven't
Potentially.
been approached on anything like that
don't
yet.
have to
So,
do anything.
I mean, I think we're jumping the gun here when we're talking about
But
expense and so forth. I really do. I think
I-
we need to address that when it comes to us.
So
Yeah.
I mean, to say that back in angled parking stalls are often considered safer because they allow the driver to see obstacles as they drive out is forgetting the whole front end of that process,
Yeah.
backing into an angled parking stall.
Where did you have to reverse angle park? You said you did once. I've never seen that anywhere.
Well, you
Right.
can reverse angle park here if you really wanted to. It's a matter of how you get into the parking spot. So in Birmingham, you could reverse angle park if I wanted to.
I think they'd ticket you, honestly.
All right,
Well,
I'm never gonna take
the
it.
way that the
There you
cars,
go.
they're set up, they're designed so that you can only roll into it. You'd have to be
Yeah.
driving backwards down the road.
Right, if I
Yeah.
passed
Side.
one,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's why it's gotta be
the difference is rather than the angle spots on a southbound pointing north, they're gonna
They're
turn
gonna point
around
the
and
other
point
way.
south.
I've never seen that anywhere.
So,
I have, but I don't know
But
where, Tony, so.
and it's not much different than backing into a parallel spot.
I would agree with you.
So
To a degree.
backing in on Main Street is, so it doesn't mean it's better or worse. but-
No, and the other thing I'd say to that, and I do agree with that, but the problem is, everyone's used to parallel parking. I mean, at least we did it in driver's ed back in 1976. They taught us with the cones.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever, I mean, I'm 61 years
Most-
old, I've never seen it.
Most kids do not need to learn how to parallel park anymore.
If you ever want some entertainment, sit at Fifth Avenue up front and watch people, well, before they closed it, try to parallel park. It's incredible.
No,
Saying you want parallel
They
parking
got a little
back in
knob
front of
now,
Fifth
don't you?
Avenue?
You just
Yeah.
turn the knob on the car and it bangs it
Yeah,
out.
exactly.
Isn't that what you do
exactly.
now? Does it all?
Okay, so
Will it
we
reverse?
do
So you got
have a
to
motion on the
maintain
table here.
existing
We,
angle.
I think, yeah.
I
Okay.
wouldn't limit the maintain to Washington because they were talking about getting rid of it in a lot of places, so.
Yeah, that's fine, and it
Just to maintain the existing angle parking?
Yes.
Yes.
Maintain the angle.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
okay. Are we good?
We're good.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
And that motion passes. Okay, Director Riley, did you have something?
Yep, and I apologize that we didn't get this sooner, but the Business Marketing Committee met with John Witz, and actually I talked to Director London about this months ago, when we first asked for the $300,000 in our budget for more downtown dollars. We kind of wanted to piggyback on the success of downtown dollars, and at the same time, over the years, the retailers, although some have done well during Arts, Beats and Eats, they haven't gotten the spillover or the big effect that some of the bars and restaurants have gotten. And so we went to Mr. Witz, and he could not have been more helpful in this. And here's our thought process. The thought process is that we do something and some of this stuff is open for discussion, okay? We're thinking $150,000 to $200,000 in $5 increments, okay? And these dollars will be good only during the days of Arts, Beats and Eats, and they'll only be redeemable at the retailers, at the participating retailers, and we'll define retail. In other words, I don't think anybody who serves food or well, I shouldn't say
So
that,
a
but
coffee shop?
well, that's going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
That's going to be a tough one because.
People would use that there.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what. I was really hoping Director London would be here because I wanted to get some input from the retailers. I wanted to make sure that they, that they are involved. That some of them, I think, I know the salons closed, and we wouldn't want them at salons. We wouldn't want them at bars, coffee shops. Is a good question. The other thing that we wanted to do was to make it based, make them $5 and make it based on a minimum purchase, be it $10 or $15. Okay. That way, maximizing the economic impact. In other words, if we did $200,000 and all were redeemed, which obviously we don't think we'd love if it happened, but if it was a $10 minimum purchase, then you're looking at a $400,000 plus impact. Okay, I'm looking for something. I don't know whether the CMC wants to talk to retailers or whether you want us to talk to retailers or what we do. But I want to narrow down I want to make sure that the retailers are involved, want to get involved. Mr. Witz has offered, his people he will use his resources, his people to distribute them. My thought was, and I discussed this with John, and he liked the idea, that we do the first, whether if we do 150,000, it's the first 7,500 every day. If we do 200,000, it's the first 10,000 through the gates. They get handed. It's going to be like, I don't know if anybody got Downtown Dollars, but the actual printed certificate, just like that, but it'll say good at participating retailers only, expires Monday, September 6th at 9 p.m. or whatever.
Could we list the retailers so then,
Well,
then people don't have to?
the other thing is he's going to have ambassadors and the same people probably. And I would like to have a sheet printed up as the same number of sheets printed up that we'll have to do on our own at WROK or whatever. Hand them out this, and here's where it's good at. I don't think that we'll be able to get that on the card itself. The card itself can have some language.
What about a QR code that sends people to like a list?
Yes, I think a link,
QR code
a
that sends people
QR
to the
code.
list.
That would send people to the list of the businesses
Super easy.
on a landing page or something.
Yeah, or even on the card itself, because when
Yeah.
you print that out, Donna should be able to put that out there, because it would be one unique
And
QR
people are
code.
so used to QR codes now for like ordering on menus.
I would
Okay.
also,
Well, let me just go one step further. In terms of the fees, at first brush, I thought she was a little high, but then I realized that this was what we negotiated her down to last time,
Yeah.
because she was up at $1 per card and 5%. I'm a little, and she probably saw where I was going to go, because she replied on the 10% restock fee that's pretty much non-negotiable, but we'll
Yeah.
see that. And on this one, I at least want to make the case to her that, the bottom line is that the stuff we had before, people had to be active to get. In other words, whether they bought a Christmas gift and got the 50% bonus, or they signed up for the newsletter and got the card. This one, they're just getting handed as they get in. So our redemption rate is going to be lower, and we get just so everybody remembers, whatever doesn't get used 90% comes back to us, 10% goes to them for maintaining. And her argument originally on the 10% was that they're the ones doing the maintenance or whatever, but we're talking 4 days. There's no maintenance here. People aren't going to call up and say, what do I have left? This, that, and the other.
right, can I just I think this is a worthy program. Are we sure that retailers are really going to be open
Well, if they don't,
those
we're not
4
going to do
days?
it. No, we got to find out.
Could we go to the next weekend? So like come back to Royal Oak. And so here's an example I'll give you. Kohl's has sales all the time, but then they give you dollars that have to be spent. If you want to earn Kohl dollars, or Kohl's cash as they call it, you earn them on their sale items, and you might earn $50, but you have to come back in 2 weeks to spend the $50 you just earned. So I'm just looking at this as, I think it's a good economic opportunity, but because the Arts Beats and Eats is such a crazy time, I don't see people walking away from the way the tents are set up, and you walking through the middle of the streets and going in onto the
Which is exactly why we're
sidewalks.
doing the program. We're trying to drive them to
Correct.
that. We're giving them an incentive to go there during the festival, because you're getting 100,000 people
Yeah.
a day in here, and you
I'm
want to
just-
turn them on. If nothing else, you're going to give them a list of shops in the area.
I think they might shop. I would be worried though if you're there drinking and watching a concert, you might lose this piece of paper and not come back if
So-
it's a piece of paper.
I think you're either gonna do that or you're gonna grab the piece of paper and shove it in your pocket and not know what you just got to a degree. Or I'm just thinking you could keep that for that weekend, but enlist it for another weekend, so you at least know you're gonna maybe get some more use out of it.
I think we would have to have that discussion with the retailers.
Yeah, the
because-
retailers really
because
have to
really,
weigh in on this.
all the feedback that we've gotten from the retailers over the
Over the
years,
years.
they want
Someone to
more that weekend.
Yeah.
That's
Not
fine.
the following weekend or the weekend before.
Yeah.
They want more that weekend.
I just,
So, I guess if we want to look into it, we can just look into it, and we have to have discussions with retailers anyway about whether they're willing to participate. So let's get them involved in
I,
exactly how it would lay out or so forth.
I like the ambassador's idea. I would actually, since we've coined this Downtown Dollars program, I would love the shirts to say Royal Oak Downtown Dollars. So people actually are like, ooh, I want some of that, versus just having plain old Royal Oak shirts. So I would actually want you to maybe even get a better shirt out there that really, so if these are ambassadors to the Downtown Dollars program, people know what they're getting immediately upon the visual of the shirt that they're.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Well, I mean, I guess, I'm not sure who we're gonna put in charge of designing it and who's gonna pay for those, but that does.
I think John probably could, designer, you put the card on it, or you put you have a logo already, so that's all I'm saying. So, but
Okay,
like
so
the
I
idea.
guess the question, the only thing that we really need to decide today, if I'm right, Tim, is whether this is a program that we want to move forward with. And then it's going to probably go back to BMC, and there's going to be more discussion, there's going to be more work on this. And then I think at some point it will come back in terms of for the execution of the.
We're going to need an outline very similar with what we've had in the past with Yifty at some point for you to actually vote on as to a contract with them. And in the interim of that, we're going to have to work through, the retailer group and find out who's participating, who's not, and the parameters of it. My only concern is your next meeting is we might need a special meeting for 2 items. And so I'm not sure what everybody's schedule is prior to the August DDA meeting, but between this request and where we're at with the video content, social media content group, we may need a special meeting to deal with both of those items. So please look at your calendar for next week, the week after, and if I send you an email, we may need to get together.
Would it be possible to do a Zoom special meeting?
It's just a matter of how we notice it. Sure, we can, as long as the city commission extends the emergency notice on Monday night, we could do a Zoom meeting.
That might open up a little bit more
Yeah.
availability for
Yeah,
people
it
during the
does.
summertime.
No, I don't think we have to do in person. I just
Yeah.
have to notice it different, so.
Tim, two questions for you. So in terms of, everything will be approved at that meeting, so we just gotta flesh everything out and have this
Yes.
sheet. Okay.
Yes.
Second question I have for you, I've been watching the account, because our match expired June 30th. And I noticed like about another 16 grand trickled back in. Is that the extent of it?
I haven't looked recently, I don't know.
Because either you or me or somebody needs to just check with Donna. Because
Yeah, I'll check.
I can't remember how much because that was from the holiday match. So that's our 90% of whatever wasn't used should be coming back. Now, on the front end, those never expired. That's what the person purchased. But so I think our refunding, if you will, June 30th, we don't have any more coming back after that, but there's at least another 18 sitting there, which we can just, put. But we're okay because we budgeted 300 for Downtown Dollars, and we want to do some other stuff as well with other events. So we'll decide on the amounts. We'll flesh everything out. Another thing, Mr. Witz has he gave me a call the other day. He had dinner Sunday night at one of the restaurants, and I'm not sure who it was, but the restaurateur was talking about how it's already tough with staff, as I know you know, everybody here knows. the restaurateur was saying that they're losing, a bunch of staff back to college. And he came up with what I think is an amazing idea. He's willing to set up a job fair for downtown Royal Oak businesses.
That'd be great.
That'd be amazing.
And think about the timing, because the federal $300 expires September 6th.
Yeah.
I think that's a great
I think we get the chamber
opportunity.
behind that, and maybe the chamber could help us.
Yeah.
host
So-
That was the
like-
number one
like,
thing that came up in the siren meeting.
So I mean, what a great opportunity, right? With all these people there, if there's a tent or whatever, and how businesses work. So we'll talk to him further about that. I mean, we don't need any kind of motion because it's not going to cost us anything, but
I think that's a great
it's just
idea.
something that he's offering up.
Very good.
Okay, I'll make a motion to proceed with the Downtown Dollar Arts Beats and Eats project and refer it back to the Business Marketing Committee to generate details of the program.
Motion by Director Yazbek,
Second.
second by Director Roswick. Further discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, before we are going to now adjourn to work session, anything else for this meeting? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Director Rosbeck,
I'll second that.
second by Director Keith.
I don't know if that's in your packet.
Discussion? None? Call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And we are adjourned.